Welcome. I will call the January 8th, 2019 regular Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Will you please all rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Hampe,
Yes.
Kimball,
Present?
Carey,
Here.
Steffensen,
Here.
Bishop,
Here.
Latham.
Here.
Okay. Have a quorum tonight. John, any amendments to the agenda?
There's none.
Okay. John, I do believe we have some appointments or announcements.
Yes, the Community Development Department do have 2 new employees. One is Bob Seal, the Community Development Director,
Okay.
and Ethan Porter, of which both are going to come and do a brief introduction of themselves.
Perfect. Welcome.
Assuming. I'm Bob Seal. I started as the Community Development Director last month, as this was the first commission meeting that I was going to be at. Certainly want to be able to introduce myself and look forward to working with you throughout this process and working with John, and already realize I've got a great staff throughout the building and planning and engineering department. Came here after 10 years in Connecticut, grew up in North Idaho, happy to be back, and it's a pleasure to be here. Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Evening, Commissioners. My name is Ethan Porter. I'm the Planner 1 in the Community Development Planning Department, and I did 4 years in the military. Right after high school, I came into Eastern, back to Washington, went to Eastern to do urban and regional planning, and then graduated with my bachelor's and worked with Spokane County for a little bit inspecting, and then I was at Relevant Associates for the past 1.5 years before I started here last month, so yeah.
Perfect.
Welcome.
All right. And let's go on to item number 6, declarations of conflict. Anything tonight?
No.
No.
Okay. Seeing none, moving on to the consent calendar. John, will you present?
Yeah, item A is the minutes from the December 11th, 2018 meeting. Item B is the Hubert Cassel annexation, file number ANNX-9, 2018. It's the reasoned decision. Item C is the North Spencer Senior Special Use Permit, file number USC 3, 2018, reasoned decision. And item D is the Villa Point North Subdivision, file number SUBD 18, 2018, reasoned decision. Also, I do want to point out that some of you may be wondering why, which would typically be a reasoned decision on the consent agenda, items been moved to old and finished business. This is dealing with the special use permit for the Crown Enterprise and UPS special use permit. And the reason for that is just staff wanted to explain some other details, not necessarily pertinent to changing the conditions a whole lot. We do want to know that there was some slight tweaks, but the intent may or may not be what you guys intended. We just want to verify that before we get those approved. So
Okay. All right. Thanks, John. Looking for a motion for the consent calendar.
I move to approve the consent calendar from December 11th, 2018 as presented.
Second.
Yep. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Steffensen,
Yes.
Carey,
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Latham,
yes.
Yes.
Hampe.
Yes.
All right. Passes. Item number 8 is citizen issues. This is a time for anybody out in the audience there who would like to address the commission on something that is not on this agenda or any future agendas. Is there anyone out there? Okay. Seeing none, let's go on to item number 9, old business. Item number A, Crown Enterprises UPS special use permit, reasoned decision.
So
John?
John's going to pull up some an aerial, and we got an easement in the area we wanted to show you as well that kind of impacts the location of a CMU wall because there's a utility easement in that corridor.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
So quick overview, this was where the special use permit was proposed. The northern part was parcel A, which was for the truck terminal south of Expo Parkway. running east-west of this location was UPS. That's Jacqueline Road, and that's Beck Road. It's just a bit north of the Beck Road interchange. Here's a little bit more detail of where that special use permit was at, parcel A, parcel B. Looking at some existing conditions, I don't know how well you can see this. This is a pretty significant higher elevation from where Woodbridge South is located, and I have a map of that coming up too as well. And then you have a higher grade up here where the truck terminal, this is where that parcel A is. I have another picture here, kind of zooms in a bit more where you can kind of see that grade break, which is fairly significant out there. Also, if you go back to the previous picture, you can see where that grade is at a higher elevation, but then it transitions being level on the north side going to the west. There's some easements out there that pertain to parcel A and parcel B. What I tried to do here was break out the easements that ran from the north and the transition to the south to Expo Parkway. So here's Jacqueline Road, there's Expo Parkway, and then it continues to go south, further south, and the farthest right part of this is to a lift station at this location. You have a 15-foot sewer easement, 25-foot easements along parcel, which affects parcel A. Once you go south of Expo Parkway, it goes to a 50-foot easement running from Expo to the lift station. Some of the original easements were narrower, but with some of the recent changes out there to accommodate growth, it got increased to a 50-foot easement south of Expo Parkway. Here's that lift station that was affected by that easement. And there, once again, is a little bit more of an overview of where that 50-foot easement continues from the northernmost part to that lift station, with it transitioning to 25 from this point to Jacqueline. That grade break that you saw in the original image, that runs along the extent of this part of the Woodbridge South or the Expo planning area. What you see here is the slightly modified conditions. There was concern on the original one about access onto Jacqueline Road, and there was concerns about making sure that there was a berm and that there was a CMU wall. So as you see here, all that is still, and I don't know if, Warren, if you want to go into some detail on this, but the CMU wall is still intended to go along the eastern boundary, paralleling the eastern property line, and then still going along the northern boundary east-west.
So what we did, because you've got the grade break there between, that's on the property line, and then you've got a 25-foot utility easement that can't have that wall in it. On top of that, what we tried to do was maintain the intent of the condition to have both a berm and a wall on both property lines, both north and east. We essentially treated that grade break, and that's, I think, conservatively 12 to 15 feet of grade break. It's really, there's a big difference in grade. So functionally, you're already getting that more than 6 feet of essentially berming because the elevation is so much different. And so the way we drafted it was that essentially on the north side, you would do both the 6-foot berm and the 6-foot wall on top. On the east wall line, because you've got the grade break and the easement, we called for the 6-foot CMU wall essentially being set back 25 feet. So it'll be outside the easement, and count the grade break as the berm on that side because there's not a way to make that functionally all fit together. And I think we thought that was as close to the intent that you were looking for, both a change in elevation and the wall that we could get to. So functionally, you're going to end up with probably close to, call it, if the elevation difference is 12 feet and you're adding 6 feet of wall on top, you're at 18 feet, whereas before it was going to be 12 feet.
Okay.
If you assumed that it was just level.
Mm-hmm.
And the other clarification was was truck access was going to be limited to Expo Parkway and Beck Road. That was the main concern, that it would still enable the potential developer to have some sort of employee access off Jacqueline.
Okay.
So that was still, once again, trying to meet the intent was dealing with the trucks on Jacqueline.
Okay.
Okay, so do I understand where the construction will be is where it's lower?
Higher
It's higher?
by some 12 to 15 feet. It's a fair bit different.
So yeah, so you would see up top, going back some 25 feet from here, then some CMU wall, and then on the other side of that, you would have that truck terminal. So in essence, like Warren was stating, that would be, you'd get that 18-foot type effect, but down here at a lower state would be the single-family subdivision.
Yeah, but that'll probably, would it be leveled out eventually? I mean, like some, no?
Nope. This elevation up here is going to maintain significantly higher than down here.
Always?
I'll go back to, so there's that subdivision there, there's that grade break, and here's where that truck terminal would be at that higher elevation.
So those backyards are going to be essentially coming up to a fairly steep incline that goes up 12 to 15 feet, and it's probably 20, 25 feet from top to bottom. It's a healthy distance.
And then there'll be the wall will be on top of
So on
that.
top, then you've got, once you get to the top, you've got that 25-foot easement, which is going to force the wall
Back
25 feet in. And so you'd probably end up using that easement area as the buffer yard and then put the fence or the wall essentially on the other side of it.
Okay.
So we thought that covered your intent, but we wanted to sort of make sure that it was clear what we were doing because it wasn't exactly what you had specified in the
Okay.
motion.
I think it'll function the same way that for what the intent was, which was to buffer sound from.
And light.
Sound and light from the neighboring residences, so, especially headlights from trucks and whatnot. So I think that's perfect. I think that it works.
And we did still carry forward that light is in the condition 1.
Okay.
It is conceivable, once they get a little further into design, that they may want to do an amendment somehow to the conditions, which would require a hearing. So we'd come back and they would seek to amend we know sort of where the easement is at a plan level, but once you start digging into it and doing design, there might be some fine tuning that needs to be done. I'm not comfortable, I wasn't comfortable trying to go beyond what was in the record this time. So they'd have to create a new record to do that.
Okay. That sounds good. Do we have any discussion on this? Any more discussion?
No, it's fine.
I'll look for a motion.
Well, then just do it, that we accept the Crown Enterprises and UPS Special Use Permit file number USC-0004-2018, reasoned decision as presented.
Perfect.
Yeah, that works. I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Hampe,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Latham,
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Carey,
Yes.
Steffensen.
Yes.
All right. On to item number 10, public hearings. We have none. No new business. Do we have any staff comments?
There's none.
Okay. Commissioners, anything for the good of the order?
Nothing.
Happy New Year.
Perfect. All right. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I second. We're done.